Hi, I'm Callum from Tyne Valley Motorhomes, and this is the handover of the 2021 model from Motor Trail, which is the Scout. So as we start, we'll walk around on the driver's side of the vehicle first. The West alloy key, or should I say the Trimark key now, opens this locker here. So this is your hookup locker. So what you need to do is just pinch, put your foot underneath, and if you just help it up with your foot, as you can see underneath, you've got your two leisure batteries. Your two leisure battery fuses here, a good amount of storage, but most of all you've got your mains hookup points. This is where you connect to the mains. So you get your hookup lead, lift the collar, slide on, hook the vehicle up first and then hook the sight, and obviously do it in reverse when unhooking the vehicle. You've got your grey waste, so this is anything you've put down a plug hole, so shower, sink or hand basin, all goes into a separate holding tank. And on the way out of a site, you go to a service point for the motorhome and you just drop the waste off. And this is just the water we've tested the vehicle with. In the winter, it's very important that you drain the waste water off because it's just a fresh tank. And then this is your cassette locker. So again, these open with the round-headed keys to do all the main locks on the motorhome. You just pinch, make sure the blade's closed first of all on the bottom bowl of the toilet, otherwise it will not be able to come out the side of the motorhome. Pinch the orange handle, slide out. You have a handle so you can drag it around the site instead of carrying it when it's full. And then to empty, you go to your waste disposal point, which is normally behind or beside your toilet block. Take this grey cap off, press the button, tip out. Once you've tipped out, you put some water in the spout and then give it a shake, tip out again, and then if you're using the liquid, a cap full, straight into here and it's good to go. Or if you're using the tablet foam, you just open the cassette itself, put a pint of water in and drop a tablet into the cassette, which will form into the liquid, and then you just push it back into the vehicle and you'll hear it click with the orange handle. Next to it, we've got your freshwater intake. So this is where you'd fill the vehicle, the freshwater tank on the vehicle. So you'd put your hose pipe in there, filter it either was overflowing until you're happy you've got enough water on board. Should you not be able to get a hose pipe to it, there's a submersible pump, and this is the pins for the 12 volt to it. So you'd put your 12 volt connection in, your hose in there, and then drop your submersible pump into a bucket or an aqua roll, but you will have to turn tank fill on in the settings on the main control panel, which I will run through when I'm inside. And then next to it, you've got your external shower. So it's a cold water feed. You put your trigger gun, which is here, onto there. And then should the pump be turned on, which it's not at the moment, you'd press here and then you'd get pressurised. But it's only cold water fed, so this is great for the dogs if they've been on the beach, or the kids, or the bike, so you want to hose your feet off before getting in the van. You can do that. And then underneath, like the grey, this is your fresh water drain. So if you've taken on any contaminated water, or you're winterising the vehicle for the season, you're putting it in, stand it away in the winter when it's going to potentially freeze, you would just let the water out so it didn't freeze. As on motorhomes and caravans, all the tanks and pipework are just plastic, so if anything was to freeze, it would cause a lot of expensive damage. On the back here, you've got your garage space that just pops in there. As you can see, you've got your hookup lead, your showering hose, external shower hose. This is just a wastewater hose, and you do have your awning winding handle as well. Now on the back of the vehicle, you've got your high level brake light across the back, your rear view camera, and underneath here is a full size spare wheel, so it opens with the round headed key again. So you take this auto trail cover off, and then underneath there's a big nut which lifts this acrylic panel off, and you've got a full size spare wheel underneath there. And you have got your bottom brake light and your back lights. On the other side, you've got some more storage. Obviously there is a plug here which is designed if you're going to have the awning on this side, which you will. You can put an extension lead in there and plug something in the awning. You've got your Aldi vent for your heater, so just make sure that's not obstructed by anything in the awning, and you allow the fumes to come out of there. And then on here, you've got your external LPG gas locker. So you lift that up, and this is your external point for your barbecue in here. You'd put a spigot into here, which is a gas nozzle. You'd need a Jubilee clip and some gas hosing to connect the spigot to the hose, and then the other end to the Caddock or gas heater or whatever you're going to power off gas. And then you turn on and off here on the gas tap, which will then run it off the main bottle on board and save you carrying a spare. 2 fridge vents, awning light, awning. An LPG, liquid petroleum gas. This is where your gas locker lives, and to open this, there's no lock or key on it. You've got to go in, and just behind the driver's seat, above the extinguisher there, there's a little handle. Just lift it up. Pops the locker door. It's on like a cabling system. And in here you can fit 2 gas bottles, so you can get a 6 and 11. So you can get one slightly bigger or 2 6s, whatever you want. And then what you'll need to do is left hand thread, and then you'd nip up with a gas spanner or adjustable wrench, turn on at the top of the bottle, press this button for 3 seconds, which opens the crash valve and allows the gas into the vehicle. And then should this yellow toggle pop out, you need to push that in, and that allows the gas into the regulator and into the vehicle. Obviously we do advise that you strap the bottles in. On the passenger door you do have your diesel, which opens with the main ignition key, so it's a lockable diesel cap. And you've got AdBlue because it's a new Euro 6D compliant engine, and the AdBlue tank is 19 litres. When the light comes on between the temperature gauge and the fuel gauge on the instrument cluster, you just simply top it up from either, you can buy it in 10 litre jerry cans, or you can buy it on the pump. Top it up as soon as the light comes on, because if it did go too low, the vehicle will go into limp mode, which is restricting it to 50 miles an hour just to protect the engine. Or if it did go completely flat of AdBlue, it will fail to start. Here on the doors you've got the tyre pressure, so 5.5 bar all round, which is 79.5 psi. And then underneath the floor you've got your engine battery, and underneath the seat you've got a toolkit, so you've got a jackknip brace and a torn eye, everything to change that wheel. And your bonnet release is just on the side of the dashboard. Having a quick look underneath the dashboard, you can, or should I say the engine bay, you've got your screen wash. This lifts off and you've got power steering fluid and radiator coolant, brake fluid, engine coolant, or should I say engine oil, sorry, and your oil dipstick, your paint code, which is 96 bomb, your weight plate now, so don't go off this, you can go off these two. So 5 ton gross vehicle weight. You can tow a ton behind you, so your vehicle can't exceed 6 ton. Then you've got your front and back axle weights. Earth for giving a jump start, and then you put your positive onto this contact here for giving or receiving a jump start. So now inside the vehicle, above the habitation door you've got your main 12 volt control panel, so if you just touch and it'll come on. First of all, if you're hooked up, you'll get the indication by the little wiggly line that you've got mains 240 volt on board, and you can see your external and internal temperature. You've got your on off button here, so this will turn on 240 if you're hooked up, or 12 volt if you're not. And then to the side of it you've got your master switch for your lights, and underneath you've got your awning light, and then you've got your dimmer, which you can change the dimmer settings in the settings of the control panel, but that dims the lights. And then this side you've got your pump, so should you have enough water on, you can turn your pump on to obviously prime the system. If you didn't have any water on, don't turn your pump on because you could burn the pump out. And then underneath you can see your water levels, so you've got 50% of fresh, 0% of waste, as you just saw, just emptied the waste from outside. And then underneath you've got your battery levels, so you've got your leisure batteries at 14.4 volts, your vehicle battery at 13.3, your active battery is currently coming off 0.6 amp, and then you've got your mains current that's coming into the vehicle of 7.5, and then you've got your solar panel of 1.1 amp coming in. But do take in mind that the solar panel goes to sleep when the hookup is on, because it's got such more of a bigger voltage coming into the vehicle. Now if we're quickly looking at the settings, so the settings on the bottom right, you can see what your active battery is. Always leave it on leisure, don't want it on smart, because what smart does, it monitors both batteries and it'll switch it over accordingly. But you always want your active battery, which is what the motorhome runs off, to be the leisure battery and never the vehicle, as you don't want to flatten the vehicle battery. It's only for an emergency, so you can switch it over. And then you've got your solar panel underneath. So solar panel, I'd always recommend that it goes to the vehicle battery if it was standing, but you can have it on smart, which again will check both batteries, and then whenever battery needs the charge, it will switch over and give the battery the charge to stop the battery from going completely flat and potentially having to be replaced. Tank fill, you turn this on if you want to fill from an aqua roll or a bucket, like I was saying, from outside where you can't get a hose pipe to the vehicle. And you've got tank heaters, so if it's going to be a cold night and potentially freeze, turn the tank heaters on. There's probes in the tanks which put current through the water and stop it freezing. Moving further along, you've got your light settings, so your dimmer levels, you can change that so you can, for the dim switch. And then you've got your screen settings and your date and time. And then across from it, you've got your Aldi heating system. So this is a wet system, very good system on the market. So you turn on and off, press menu, you get your menu. So you've got the house with the thermometer in. This is the temperature inside the vehicle. Currently it's set to 26.5 degrees. You can set that all the way to 30 degrees. So that's how hot you want inside the motorhome to be. Underneath you've got the picture of the shower. This is the hot water, so you've got off if there was no water in the boiler at all, half, which is equivalent to heating the water at 40 degrees, and full, which is heating the water at 60 degrees. So you'd use half for showering, full for doing your dishes and having hot water. And then underneath you've got the electric. So if you're on site, you can have it on 1 kilowatt depending on what the current is that they give through the hookup. So abroad you may have to use a lower, so you may have to use 1 kilowatt, but in this site you can use 2, which is the next one, by pressing plus. And then you've got 3 kilowatts if you are on a super site, and they give you a better voltage. But if you were to trip the vehicle out with this on 2 or 3 and you're boiling a kettle, if you just turn this down to 1 and then try and boil the kettle again, because sometimes you can overload the hookup, and then you'd have to do the trips within the vehicle or the trips outside on the post. You've got your gas here, so if you're wild camping or if you were away in the winter and it was really cold, you can have the gas and the electric on together to heat the water or the vehicle. Obviously gives it a boost. Obviously you would do that for about 20 minutes if you were on a site, and then you would want to turn the gas off because you wouldn't want to waste any more gas, but it would give it a good head start of heating the vehicle or the water. Going into settings, you can set timers and things, but I'll not overcomplicate it. There's loads of videos on this from Aldi themselves, and there's obviously a handbook with the vehicle that you can read, but keep it nice and short and simple. We'll do the heating, the water, the electric and the gas. So now in the kitchen area, you've got 3 lit gas rings and 1 electric hot plate, which is this one here, which is the far back on 240 volt only. So do be careful that you haven't knocked this when you've been packing the van and then you hook up, because there's no light to indicate this is on, and if the glass lid was to be down and that was to be on 1, obviously it will get hot over time and potentially smash the glass. Once you've turned off all your gas rings, allow it to cool before you put the lid down again. You don't want to smash the cooker hood. And then you do have your grill there, so you can see that's lit. And then underneath, see, there's your grill pan there. You've got your oven. Always make sure that the flat side of the oven shelf is towards the front. and the bits with the grooves on is towards the back, because this is designed to stop the burners from being blocked by food content when you are using the cooker. And you've got your light this side for your oven. Underneath you've got a push panel there, and you've got the plug for your electric hookup, and you've got a little bit of storage. I wouldn't say there's much in there, but you could probably put, because it's intruded by the Aldi pipes and the gas locker, which is here. You've got your cutlery drawer, which is built into the cupboard, and some storage. And then you've got the more storage in here, which is underneath the sink. Got a little rack for your spices and some more storage. Above, you've got your cup, plates and bowl rack. These are your winter covers for your fridge vents, which is put on in the winter. Sink cover. There you go, this shows the water pumps working. And this is just your drainer, so you can have that on there should you wish. So above the fridge is your microwave, which is a 240 volt microwave only, so you've got to be hooked up for this to work, and it is 800 watt. And you've got a little storage on top. And then to work the Thetford styled fridge freezer, so you've got a large freezer box, a large fridge. Press this button here to turn on and off. E stands for automatic energy selection, so the brain of the fridge picks the best source that you have to offer. So at the moment we're parked on the forecourt, we're hooked up and we'll have the gas bottle on. So it knows not to waste the gas, so it's going to hook up. If I was to take the hookup out, it would switch over the gas. Then if I was to start the engine, it would switch over the battery setting, which is not from your leisure battery, it's from your engine battery when the engine's running. So you have to pre-chill the fridge before on gas or electric, and then put on the battery. It'll basically turn the fridge freezer into a cool box and just keep all your shopping content nice and fresh until you arrive back onto a site, or you arrive while camping and you switch back over to gas or mains 240 volt. Once you have finished with the fridge for the season, if you just clean it out, and then the last thing you want to do is shut the door, as it forms an airtight seal. Underneath the catches here you've got 2 toggles, and you simply just put them into the little holes in the brackets there for the fridge door, and you'd leave it open. And then you do also have on the panel your temperature, so 1 to 5, 5 being the coldest. Sometimes people say that 5's too cold and potentially freezes, so you may have to just turn it down ever so slightly. And then you do have the element here to stop this from being, the rubber being stuck to the door. Hidden nicely next to the fridge is your freestanding table. So obviously you've got your table at the front, you have a table to go at the back, or you can obviously take this outside, and it's just like putting an ironing board up. Now in the washroom area, so you've got your separate shower cubicle and your toilet. So to operate your toilet, make sure that the pump's on, press the blue button. So you can hear it, it's pumping the water through. There you go, there's the water. For the flush, always flush the toilet first, and then go to the right with this grey slide, which is the blade. Use the toilet with the blade open, then flush after use, and then slide to the left, which will obviously isolate the blade on the cassette and allow you to pull the cassette out the outside of the vehicle when you need to empty it. Do it this way because this is the way you use a motorhome and caravan toilets, because the blade isn't 100% watertight and you don't want the around the cassette to be flooded, because it'll be a messy job and it stops the blade from getting dirty. And then you'll get a light on here when the cassette is full. Got a toiletry cabinet there, light switch in here, toiletry cabinet, magnetic shower doors, and then a hanging rail so you can hang towels, or you can put a couple of hangers on there and hang wet coats if you've been caught in the rain, walking the dog, or out on the bikes. Obviously you can use the shower head to wash them off as well, and then if you put the heating on and shut the door of the toilet, in here gets lovely and warm with the heating. And then one thing when winterizing the vehicle. If you just unpull your shower head from your hose and allow your hose to lie in your shower tray, as you can see there, it's got quite a loop in. Any water could potentially freeze in here. If you just lie it down in the shower tray, as long as your waste is open from outside, which it will be, like I've just told you, from outside the van, any water that seeps through there will just seep straight out the vehicle. Leave all the mixer taps throughout the vehicle open in the middle position. So now in your wardrobe, you've got your infill cushions for your bed, you've got your G-Tech Hoover, sweeper, carb mat, main carpets for the vehicle, and you have your My Wi-Fi Hawaii system. So basically they come with a pay-as-you-go sim, but the pay-as-you-go sim is rubbish in my opinion, because you always have to top it up. So what I'd do is, if you've got a pay monthly plan with your phone, say with O2, Vodafone, if you go to them and just say I need a data only SIM card, they'll provide you one and get unlimited for about £20 a month. And then all you need to do is take the back off here, put the SIM underneath the battery, and then the pin is on the back underneath this back to connect to it, and you'll find them on your device. The aerial coming in from it makes the 4G signal 10 times better than the signal that you pick up on your phone, as it's got a mast on the roof. And then you do have your storage drawers and a cupboard there with some more storage underneath. Come to the back of the van, you've of course got your large U-shaped lounge. Storage up at the top here, so quite a lot of storage in the top. Wine glasses and wine bottle holders there. And then to make the bed, you'd simply just lift and slide these out. So I'll put the bed together and I'll show you. There are legs on there, so you'd fold the legs down in the middle just to keep them both together. And there you go. So if you use the backrests from here and here in the middle, turn them upside down. I'd also, with it being like a leatherette finish, I'd also advise turning the base cushions upside down so you get the fabric finish. So it just means it's comfortable to sleep on, and you can put a fitted sheet on and your duvets, and it's far nicer to sleep on. You'll see that you've got your leg, which you pull out in the middle to keep the support of the bed. Underneath where your telly is, underneath the large bench seat, is your Aldi boiler. So this boiler holds 10 litres of water at any one time. It's very important when you're not using it, but especially in the winter, you let the water out. Just because if it did freeze, obviously like I've explained, all these pipes are plastic and rubber, and the tanks are plastic, and it could freeze. So I would advise letting the water out, because obviously with the warranties at Auto Trail state, frost damage is not covered by them, as it's your responsibility to drain the boiler off. And to do so, this little yellow tap here is lying down, it's holding 10 litres of water. Just lift it up, it'll start draining directly out underneath the chassis, and then leave it stood up during the time you've got the vehicle standing, and then when you're ready to use it, you'd lie it down like so, shut all the taps within the vehicle, shut the fresh and waste from outside, fill the vehicle with water, go to the cold, come in, put the 12 volt panel on, put the pump on, go to the cold side of the mixer tap first. You'll get automatic cold water. Go to the hot, it will cough, splutter. What it's doing is it's filling it from the bottom up, so all the air is being pushed out until you get a steady flow on one tap. You can then do them all, and the system would be primed for the season. To operate the telly, first of all press the on button towards the infrared light at the bottom, in the bottom left hand corner. Once it goes blue, that means the telly's on. You should get a picture. But each time you move from site to site, you will have to retune the telly, and you'd simply do so by pressing AQT, big orange square button there. Press and hold, and it'll do a channel search, and it'll find as many channels as it can in your area. Failing that, you've got source, and you can change it to HDMI, or there is HDMI's in the side there, so you can use a smart stick with the Wi-Fi that's in the vehicle. And then at the front of the lounge, so you've got your double dinettes, you've got 4 belted seats. If you wanted to make this into a double bed, you'd simply press this button in, fold the leg, obviously pull it to about 90 degrees and it'll clip off the bar, fold it down, and then what you do is you would rest the sides of the table on this little edge here and use the cushion that's in the wardrobe on there to form a double bed here. Above you've got your TV booster, so it's a fixed aerial, but you do have this black wheel where you can min and max the TV signal should you be struggling to get one, or should it be too strong. In this cupboard you'll find 2 USBs for charging, your build number which is unique to your vehicle, and then you've got your RCD and MCBs, and obviously your charger and heating and hot water system on electric. Obviously your heating and hot water system does work on gas as well. That's controlled from your Aldi panel. Your system shutdown button stops any power drain in the winter when the vehicle's in storage, but it does isolate the accent head unit, which includes a reverse camera, so if you were to drive it without this turned on, your reverse camera and your radio will not work. Underneath you've got all your fuses for your 12 volt side, so it would be a good idea to carry some spares, which are all listed here. What I'll do is I'll put the bed together and I'll show you how it works with the cushion. So you put your table into this position and then the cushion on top, and then there you have it. It forms a double bed. Obviously these are in the cellophane cover, but I don't want to take them out until the customer gets it. But you do have 2 separate fold-in cushions, so they fold together. And to make the bed above the cab, simply slide this out. Obviously again you'd have to unroll your mattress out the cellophane, pull the mattress over, and the ladder would just clip on here for the double bed. So now in the cab, to the right of the driver, you do have your handbrake, and on the door you've got your electric windows and electric mirror adjustments. So you've got 2, which is the big one and the bottom one on both sides of the mirrors. Pinch and slide this out, and this is how you black your passenger and driver door windows out, and then you just pinch and then these are just magnetic. So quite a fiddly job to do one-handed, but there you have it. So the magnetic just clip together and you can black your doors and your main windscreen out. They just push back in here. Down to the right of the driver, you've got your headlight adjustment, rear fogs, eco, and you can turn your start stop off. Trips on the end of the wiper stalk, which go through your fuel and consumption and travelling times and distance. Lights and indicators, cruise control at the top, off in the middle, and speed limiter. Obviously with the cruise control, what you do is get your desired speed, push up, cancel with the brake, or cancel on the end of the stalk, and you can resume. And then on the speed limiter, push down, go up a little bit, goes up in 1 miles per hour, go press and hold, goes up in 5s. Got all your steering wheel controls, 6-speed manual gearbox. You just lift it, and once the engine's running, you'll get your rear view camera on here. Traction control, hill descent control, which is useless for an automatic, or should I say a manual, it's more for an automatic. Hazards, locks the doors including the habitation. You've got your heated mirrors, got all your temperature on this outside ring, fan speed on the in, must be on at least 1 or more for the aircon to work, and then you have your distribution and your fan and where you want the air to go to, so you can either recirculate it or bring fresh air in. I'll explain the head unit tomorrow. USB for charging and 12 volt, and there's a USB here for your head unit.